Hello, and welcome to the McTaggart Attack podcast. I'm Kevin McTaggart, and this episode is What the Fuck, Watchmen? For episode 3 of the first season of the HBO series Watchmen. The title of the episode was She Was Hit by Space Junk. Nope, got that wrong. She Was Killed by Space Junk. That's a weird title. I love how all of these episodes so far, for the first 3 episodes of Watchmen, have all been like weird titles. I admire them for their weird titles. I hope they keep up with these weird titles for as long as this series goes along. This episode is basically just me giving my opinions and thoughts on the episode. There will be spoilers. This is your alert that there will be spoilers in this episode. If you haven't seen this episode or any of the episodes of Watchmen so far, listen to this episode at your own risk. Or if you're one of those people that don't mind spoilers, first of all, why? You must have no thrill in your life where you just don't give a shit about spoilers. Also, I want your life if you don't worry about hearing spoilers. Okay? So yeah, here's my thoughts on this episode of Watchmen. I thought it was told in a different way, I felt, than the first 2 episodes. Or it was at least done in like a different perspective. You know? I don't know. It's weird. Maybe that's what they're going to be doing with this series. They're going to tell them all in like different perspectives. Because like the first episode was much more of like a... I don't know. The first episode I felt focused on Regina King, but she wasn't really the main character. She was the main character of like the first 2 episodes. Well, half of them anyway. I mean, Jeremy Irons has been, the focus of half the episode also, with the weird shit that he's been doing. Who knows what the fuck he's trying to do. But yeah, this episode, Jean Smart, her character, Lori Drake, right? Is that right? Did I get that right? I don't remember. Anyway, was the main character for most of this episode, so that was interesting. Because her character was definitely one of the Watchmen from the comic book, and 34 years have passed, and you've seen what's changed in her. Like, she works for the FBI. She's an FBI agent who hunts down masked vigilantes, because it's basically illegal everywhere except for Oklahoma, where they had to make that rule because of the White Knight, where all those cops were killed, and now they have vigilantes in Oklahoma. So she hunts down vigilantes, but then she's asked to go help out with the investigation of Don Johnson and him being hung and why he was hung. And now she's there, and I read something that I thought was interesting, how like she's taken her father's name. Her father was the comedian. He was the guy that was the murder, that was the basis, the big mystery for the Watchmen series. Like, and he was killed, and then there were a lot of similarities between the funerals, from what I understand. So that was interesting. But yeah, her character's changed a lot in 34 years. Or maybe it hasn't. It's just grown from the events that happened in Watchmen. You know, she works for the FBI. She hunts down masked vigilantes. I'm not sure exactly what happened to her and Night Owl. What happened to Night Owl? That's another question that has arisen from this series. And there was, I only watched the episode once, but I did read an article about some stuff that happened because I questioned what the fuck it was. And so, but yeah, I want to know what happened to Night Owl. We know what happened to Rorschach. He got killed. And then racists took his, writings and using it in the wrong way. Dr. Manhattan, still on Mars. Ozymandias, I think had to, from what I heard in the episode, it sounds like he's had plastic surgery or something, and he's around. Lori Drake, was that? Why do I think the last name is wrong? Did I fuck up the last name? Let's look this up because I want to know. And let's look up Watchmen HBO and see what the fuck is happening. All right, Watchmen HBO. All right, we're doing this. We're looking it up. It's happening. Lori Blake, not Drake. Blake. She took the last name of her father was Blake, and she changed her name to that. So that was interesting. I think because, if I remember correctly, at the end of the Watchmen comic book series, she was mad at her mother for not telling her who her father was. And I think there was a rift was created between her and her mother. So then she changed her name, must have changed her name to her father, her last name to Blake, for her father. And she acted a lot like her father in the episode last night. She, with her sense of humor and everything. I think there was lots. She's a lot like her father, the comedian from the Watchmen show. So that was interesting. Her interrogation of Looking Glass, she did a really good job of interrogating Looking Glass, and making him feel uncomfortable. And then she didn't faze Angela Abar one bit at all whatsoever. So that was interesting. And the car that got lifted in the last episode came crashing down to the ground. And what I assumed was a joke was Dr. Manhattan responding to Lori Blake's joke that she told in the phone call. Because it said he would respond in 40 seconds, or he'd receive it in 40 seconds, and boy did he. And he heard it, and the car coming crashing back down was definitely him. And she knows that it was him. So that's our first, response from Dr. Manhattan somehow. There was a picture of him on Mars in, the first episode. So, yeah, it's definitely very interesting. Very intrigued by this. I love this show so far. It's been 3 episodes, and I still love the show. What else happened? She slept with the FBI agent that she brought with her. And so that was expected. The what the fuck moment, I think, from this Watchmen episode was the blue dildo. Definitely the huge blue dildo. She must enjoy using that. Or I don't know. What the fuck? Why would she have it? Was it a dildo? What the fuck was it? I don't even know what the hell it was. But she kept that suitcase with the suitcase with the combination 666. So that's kind of spooky there. And I'll have to watch this episode again, but it was certainly a very interesting episode. But the what the fuck Watchmen moment of this show, of that episode was definitely the big blue dildo that she took out of the suitcase. So that was it. And Jeremy Irons, again, all of his parts of the first 3 episodes are just fucked up. I have no idea what he's doing. He's this time it looks like he launched one of his clones into space, and then they came back dead. He's killed a clone in the last 2 episodes, and they seem to like do the same thing every day. Like they sing to him, happy birthday, whatever, congratulations, blah blah blah. That he's a jolly good fellow. That's what they fucking sing to him, and like it's like he's living Groundhog Day over and over again. Or the clones only know to do that over and over again. It's fucked up. It's weird. And he donned the costume because he was going to go do some stuff at midnight, but they don't show any of that. So we definitely confirmed who he is. And we know Laurie Blake, and we've sort of heard from Dr. Manhattan. Just need to know what the fuck happened to the Night Owl. And yeah. So many questions. I love how this show keeps springing up questions and then answering those questions and then raising up more questions. But it was certainly a very interesting episode, like they've all been so far, and I don't know if it's being renewed for a second season. I don't care. I mean, if it does, great. If it doesn't, great. I don't give a shit. I'll still watch them. I think it's fantastic. It's a great show. I highly encourage you to watch it. Or if you have watched it, yeah, watch it. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode of What the Fuck Watchmen for episode 3. I can't remember if there's anything else that happened in this episode that was brought to mind. And no, I don't think there is. So we'll just leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. And if you want to reach me, if you have thoughts on Watchmen, that's not the music I wanted. That's the music I wanted. If you have any thoughts on this episode of Watchmen, you can email me, mctaggartattack@gmail.com, or find me on Twitter @KevMcT, or find me on Instagram @McTaggartAttack, or find the Facebook page for the McTaggart Attack podcast on Facebook. And that's the bottom line. If you smell what the McTaggart Attack podcast is cooking.